Hello, hello. Well, that was a little bit fast, unexpected start for me, but good evening, everybody. We have Vancouver Titans back. I am Harbleu. They will be playing Atlanta Reign today. Should be a good one. Unfortunately, Vancouver's last match, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It wasn't the best. They had good signs, but there was a lot of stuff that wasn't so good. And I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that they've worked on over the weekend, which, as someone who's been in that position, had matches that were rough like that, where really it wasn't that close overall. It all depends on how the team responds to that. If they hung their heads and were like, wow, this was rough, this was a bad match, then this match could be rough. But if they used that as like a stepping stone, saw what worked, and then tried to improve on that and VOD reviewed all of it, there's a lot of good signs from it. And I'd say the big things I noticed were Teru's Genji was definitely one of the strong points. Even though it hasn't really been meta, I haven't seen many other teams busting out the Genji. So I'm curious to see whether or not they end up running that again. But before I talk about all that, let me just do a quick roster rundown again. It's a new match. Do at the start of it again. On DPS we have over here is Teru, like I said again. And then yesterday we saw a bunch of Linkser. Not yesterday, Friday, sorry. But it looks like Dalton should be back also. I believe Linkser is starting still, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Dalton come in at some point during the match. Other than that, we have on support Fire and, oh my goodness, I can get my brain together, Rolf also, which, a little bit of an interesting match here. Fire and Fried Wiener both used to be on Atlanta. So last season they were both on Atlanta. Now they're on Vancouver. I wouldn't really call it a rivalry match or anything like that. I believe they left on good terms, but playing against your old team, it always is that little bit of extra motivation where you do want to just beat them that much more. So I'm sure they'll be looking for that. And on tank again, we have the new pickup, Changsik. I didn't see a whole lot from him last match. I really, with a match like that, with a 3-0 like that, it's hard to make a good first impression or really be able to tell whether or not how good of an impact he was having. So I'm going to be looking for more from him this one. And then Fried Wiener on the off tank there, which, speaking of Fried Wiener, I might as well go to it right now. We have the behind the numbers for Fried Wiener, actually. Again, the off tank for Vancouver. He has 118,000 hero damage done this season. Not bad, especially for a tank player. Those are DPS numbers right there. 181,000 damage blocked. More blocked than done. That shows he's been out there on that Diva and Sigma just eating up the damage. And 314 elims. Pretty good number overall. You know, nothing to scoff at. Some pretty good numbers from Fried Wiener. And I have some more points to talk about, but I might as well also just go into the keys to the game presented by Best Buy and Intel real quick. Number one, watch out for Pelicans May. Even though, personally, I don't think Pelican will be playing any May this match. It looked like, from what I saw, Pelican was either on the Echo or they were running a lot of double hit scan comps. So really, I wouldn't expect, especially with the hero bans and how it's been more of a hectic meta, I haven't seen near as much May played as it was the first split. And then point number two, deny Iris the opportunity to heal his team. Pretty much as simple as that. If your supports can't heal, people are probably going to die. And then number three, take advantage of Reign's rigid comps. From what I've seen, it does look like Atlanta is pretty set in stone on wanting to run Gator on Orisa. And then they have been tweaking it slightly around that. It seems like a lot of double shield with a mix of Echo and then the other DPS is kind of flexing more. So they were pretty, especially compared to what we saw from Vancouver, where I think they ran a combination of like 10 different comps. It looked like Atlanta had a certain comp they wanted to run, and they wanted to stick with that. So I'm curious to see which comp Vancouver comes out of the gate. But my last couple of points I'd say were Vancouver going into this, because it looks like they're getting ready to get this match started. They need to keep Rolf alive. It's been a reoccurring trend throughout the season, but there were multiple times in the match on Friday where Rolf was one of the first ones to die, if not the first. And losing your main support like that, there's just no healing to be had after that. So they need to keep him up during that. But like I said, I would like to see more of the Genji, I think. They look like they were the best on that. On the first map here, on Koth, Genji's always been pretty good. I'm going to say at least Vancouver's going to take a map on Nepal. I'm going to say they're going to take Nepal to start, and then we'll see after that. But they're going to start out hot on the series, and I will see you after map 1.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm absolutely incredible at those games. I say this with complete confidence. You know I am as well. This isn't me fronting. No. I can listen. You give me a license plate, a patch of grass, the soil composition. I can guess where we are in the world. Like genuinely, you could drop me off anywhere and I could do it.
Yeah. He just can't get lost. You'd be a fantastic tracker.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Well,
here's what I'm interested in, Brent.
Yeah.
The Vancouver Titans are running this rush composition, right? They're running the Moira Lucio with the Changsik playing Winston. That is something that Atlanta struggled against yesterday. So if Vancouver can get this working really, really well, it could pose an early threat. Okay, well, Linksa just got caught completely off guard there.
Did he not have the Wraith form? I'm not too sure. I mean, he potentially could have avoided the Halt, but that's a big kill, and already you see that D-Mech coming through. Chansik is down, and the Atlanta Rain. Oh boy, okay. That's a quick and easy little team fight.
Hello, Lynx has gone over to Genji. He's decided Reaper is not the pick for him, and we're going for Genji Echo. This is a composition that not many teams have been running, but notably, I was loving watching the Dallas Fuel run a composition that was quite similar to this. Now, okay, it's one thing when it's Sparkle, another thing when it's Linksa. We haven't seen the Linksa Genji in quite some time, but it used to be, if we're talking way back in the annals of history, it used to be good.
Yeah, it used to be dominant. Sure, he's been putting in the practice as well. There you go, trying to basically put a bit of that pressure into Iris, but shut down. Bit of a dive into the back line, the D-Mech on top of it. The Vancouver... Okay, Josh, a quick little question for you. You might not know the answer to this. The Vancouver Titans still doing that breadstick thing?
That's a really good question. I think it was for the whole season, but I'm not sure. And for anybody at home who's lost, the Vancouver Titans were doing some kind of sponsor thing, I assume, which gave fans breadsticks if they went to a map 5. Yeah, I don't know. Are you trying to call it this early, Brent? There's no way.
No. I'm not a two-team fight Andy over here. You know, I'm saying that the fight continues here because Gator's leading it in with a supercharger. It's going to be giving him quite a bit of damage. Try and pump in these shots. You can see Kai, and the threat of this is really just going to be pushing Vancouver away. They can't be playing into this one now. They're just going to be waiting it out. Finally, it fades, and then now they can start going. So the Coalescence is going to come through here from Rob. It's a lot of damage, but the Amp Matrix is going to be met as well. They can't play into this when the Deadeye's being held by Kai. Eventually, it's going to be fading. The point almost getting flipped over. Now the Blade comes through. Linksa trying to turn this one. Soundbar as well. Point not flipped over just yet. Linksa's trying to get value out of this one, but he's stunned up, and there we go. Taken down. Terra ends up using the duplicate there, and he has built up the tactical visor. 2 kills now as he fades out of the duplicate form. It's even trades all over the place. Chansik very, very, very low. Master's going to be trying to chase him down, and they flip the point over, but ultimately it seems like Atlanta Rain, they've got the bodies necessary to try and flip this one over. Fried Wiener not going to be able to get back into the mech. And if we see the stall heroes coming out as the Vancouver Titans just try and touch this one. Fire's trying to get onto the point, keep that overtime going. We'll be able to do that. The mines as well, possibly turnable here.
It's looking incredibly unlikely, Brent. The Vancouver Titans, they had one good opportunity to flip this in their favor, and they just couldn't stick the landing. That was a really close team fight, the one beforehand. The first one where you feel like Vancouver have a serious chance off the back of really Teru using the space that Linksa provided, but it's just not enough in the end. They're getting completely outclassed here in that first round.
Tell you what some of the defining features of Nepal are, Josh, as well.
Oh, please do.
If anybody is trying to figure that out. This is one of the things that really does, I think, highlight how good the map design is in Overwatch as well, like the art team, and how good of a job they do. But like the mountain ranges, obviously, there's going to be a big factor in terms of that as well. So if you showed me, like, I don't know, like a still image, a lot of mountain ranges as well, that's tends to be a bit of a giveaway, I suppose, as well. Looking at kind of like the mountain ranges around, I don't even know what the mountain range is called, to be honest. So
the Himalayas.
The Himalayas, right? Yeah.
Yeah, geography wizard over here.
Something like that. Well, I mean, I'm pretty good, but I forget names of things anyway.
Okay. Well, coming into this round, the Atlanta Rain are running a Reaper May composition, so it's very much similar to like the Rush or Brawl comps that we might have seen previously. And there's another Halt. This is a mirror image of what happened in the first round. Linksa going down as the first pick off the back of a Halt.
Yeah, the Halts have kind of been brutal. I mean, Gator, this is something that he's really, really good at, honestly, on the Orisa.
He is, yeah.
It seems like something that's not really worth gassing up, but the halts are so important in this composition in terms of comboing it with abilities and getting that value. Look at those icicles as well. Pelican, okay, just beating down the turrets in midair. Has the wall available. You can see a bit of pressure being applied now as the Vancouver Titans are trying to dive onto the other side of the point. That's going to be a freeze coming up. Terror goes down, and that's a wall. Transit cannot back off, even with the fortify. The tank line decimated. The Vancouver Titans back to the drawing board.
Yeah, back to the drawing board completely there. Vancouver, they weren't really able to get a foothold in. With Lynx down and that damage removed, they tried to maneuver. They got a 3-man halt from Chansig, but there's no follow-up or thought process of how they want to enact on that advantage that they've set themselves up for. And overall, okay, we reset. They have the amp matrix with which to engage, but not a huge amount of damage that can really go through it since Lynx is on such a short range hero here. Okay, the teleporter broken immediately though. So that plan for the Vancouver Titans stuffed instantly.
Yeah. And they can't step out of here. The amp matrix is too potent.
That was a lot of damage on Massa.
One of their own. Yeah,
they can't
might be able to convert it into a kill. They cannot. The teleporter's still up though. They're going to be retaking the high ground control. The Atlanta Rangers backing off to the point now. They're ready to wait out these ultimates. Yeah, Kai's
position. He's playing Reaper, by the way. He's miles away.
Wait, here we go. Oh, that's what he was waiting for. The Immortality Field not able to save Rolf. Sim Shield as well will be strewn across the points just to give them a bit more damage mitigation. And it's the Atlanta Rangers kiting back, winning the team fight. They seem to have just a very firm understanding of how to play this composition, and the Vancouver Titans are just a little bit too slow to adjust to a lot of what's being chucked at them.
Yeah, very slow decision making. The pace and tempo is making a large difference. I don't think anyone's going to be able to touch here at all. Yeah. And the Atlanta Reign take, frankly, unchallenged map 1. There was one team fight, actually. There was a singular team fight where it felt dangerous, and yet Atlanta still managed to get the win. That is one of the most one-sided maps of Overwatch you will ever see.
I mean, it's one of the most one-sided I think I've ever casted. Yeah, quite absurd, quite quick as well overall. And you can see the Atlanta Reign obviously still all smiles, laughing. Maybe a couple of the geography games in between the break, who knows what they've got planned. But we're going to be going to a short break. So yeah, stick around guys. We'll see if the Vancouver Titans have got what it takes to try and turn this series around, potentially showcase that they are.
Well, that is definitely not the way that I think Vancouver wanted to start this match. Really, it seems like more of the same issues from Friday, and I'm not sure if it's the hero bans, the fact that they have a new player they're still trying to integrate, or what, but to me, Vancouver looks a lot more sloppy and a lot more like they don't know what they're really trying to do compared to the first split. So the first split, even though they also didn't win a match, they took a map on every single set, and they looked very competitive on most maps still. Right now, they've looked a lot less like that. And I guess some of the main things I would say is, I don't know what their plan is exactly with Lynxer in these comps. Because on the first point there, you saw Lynxer on the Reaper, which against the Orisa, I actually liked the pick there. I didn't like the Reaper really yesterday, but against the Orisa, that's always been one of Reaper's best picks there. But then they lose Lynxer early, and he swaps to Genji, which historically Lynxer has never really been a Genji player. He's always been like a heavy hit scan player. So I'm not sure, again, if they've been like having success in scrims running this, or if Lynxer just got frustrated after that first death because he felt like it was a repeat of Friday and was like, guys, I don't want to run Reaper into this. Yeah, let's do Genji. Because that does happen. Like, people think like players don't get frustrated like this, or players don't ever like make on-the-fly calls that they want to run a different hero. Again, they must have practiced the Lynxer Genji in scrims, but I feel like even like if he's on his A+ game, his Genji I would not call Owl level. He might be able, he can run it in Owl, but compared to like a lot of the top Owl DPS Genjis, there's just like a million other picks it would make sense for him to go on. But you can't say that's all on Lynxer either. Like at 100 like 0 like that, especially at the second point, that's like the entire team just needs to be better on that. But after a map like that, again, I keep talking about it, it's all about the mental reset. Maps like that really come down to how good of a team's mental is. If they have that good leader who's like, hey guys, this was a rough match on Friday, let's pick it up and show we're better than this. That's where you have to have that one just positive vocal leader making sure the team's mental doesn't break there. Which I'm not sure who that is on the team. I know Fire has always been one of the more vocal people, and he seems like a pretty positive guy overall. But when you're in those situations, it still is hard. We going on to Dorado next, which is a very different map, obviously, than Nepal. It's a lot longer, the sight lines on it. I would expect to see a lot more hit scan played, either Widow or Ashe, if Lynx are still in. We might see Dalton here still, too. He is available to play today, I've heard, but I'm not sure if he's been, sick or something else. I'm not sure he's been actively practicing with the team. So I guess we'll see who's there on DPS, but again, you'll probably see much more hit scan being played. I'd expect to see a lot more of the same from Atlanta, though, even though Dorado historically hasn't been like a great Orisa map. It seems like that is the comp they really are just set in stone and wanting to run. So you'll probably see a lot more of that, which you would then have the opening to potentially go back Reaper if you don't want to try and just TP and rush that Orisa down. Because you are seeing value from Reaper in some of these other teams. It just seems like Vancouver has still struggled to really get the pieces together on it to get it working. But I expect to see a better map here. Really, first maps, especially Koth, if you lose that first fight, the round can really just be over like that. So I wouldn't look into it too much. But Vancouver does need to wake up here, and they do need to come out strong here on Dorado. So I'm looking forward to seeing it, and hopefully we take a map win going to map 3. And I will see you after this.
In this picture, no mustache, no tucked-in jersey. This is a guy that, he's got a look, and he's gone for it. And honestly, I'll tell you what else would, I think, suit Fried Wiener as well on top of that. Like, the mullet. The mullet's coming back in, Josh. I don't know if you're aware of this.
I have been told this. It's not something that I'm personally going to go for, but I agree, It would look pretty good on this guy. He's definitely got a certain look. I love the way he pulls it off. And also, Brent, it's his first time facing his former team of the Atlanta Reign. So since making that swap over to the Vancouver Titans at the beginning of this year, he has not yet faced off against his former team.
There you go.
You can see there that some of his statistics from when he was playing a lot back in 2019 as well, on the Diva, on the Roadhog, that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's been a bit rough for Fried and for the rest of the Vancouver Titans as well. But they're maintaining positivity. I mean, look at them. They're still smiling, still out here, enjoying themselves, even though they're 0-5 right now.
We're missing a third of the team.
True. I'm assuming Chancing and Rolf are not in tears, though. They're probably got a similar kind of emotional state.
You got to always go into every match as well, thinking the possibility of you winning as well. I think as
it becomes harder and harder as you go on, though.
Of course, yeah. I don't really have much advice, I think, for them. I don't know if they're going to be listening back onto this one, but as soon as you think that it's over, it is over at that point. And at the end of the day, we know these guys are quite talented. I think Chancik as well as an individual who's been kind of like coming and kind of forced and thrown into this kind of environment of the Overwatch League has been doing a serviceable job as well, considering the circumstances. But up against the Atlanta Reign, these guys, they didn't show any mercy in map number 1. It was absurd, and now they're playing this composition that they like to play. They're teasing a couple of picks like Farah. I don't think they're going to be sticking to this. So yeah, Atlanta Reign on this comp with the Orisa Diva. Oof, that's a nasty combo.
It certainly is, and Vancouver are going to have their work cut out for them to be able to stop this. Once the momentum begins, he looks dangerous here out of the Widowmaker. Lynx has got a big task of shutting him down.
He's stone cold. I don't think I've ever seen him smile, even when he's popping heads. Oh, that's a dangerous one. Getting quite low as well. You can see it requires a lot of discipline to play these Winston compositions. Vancouver Titans, if they overstep themselves by just an inch, you're going to get punished. Just like that. Yeah, and you can see Chancing tried to kind of support him, I suppose, as well. Wasn't able to do that. 2 early picks going the way of the Atlanta Reign.
Very, very early on. And now Atlanta just carry on all of this momentum. Kai's been able to find picks, that one into a halt, but he's been going for jump shots previously too. And Fried's going to get finished off by his former team so that he can't even touch the payload. This is some severe momentum. Good kill, but that one's going to get rezzed immediately anyway, so that doesn't halt anything here for Atlanta. They're going to keep plowing forwards.
Now, if I'm thinking silver linings here for the Vancouver Titans, this particular section of Dorado, it's kind of brutal to try and attack through. they've got plenty of opportunities, especially playing around this high ground control, I guess, with the more mobile comps, to try and pick apart the Atlanta Rain when they're trying to basically push this card through. And you can see them right now. As long as they're maintaining this high ground control, they should be in a good position. But they cannot afford to get picked off like that. Now they have the res available. They're going to be able to get Linksa back up.
No, I don't think so. It was in an unresable position, and Pelican's watching. Plus, they have the info sight from Kai, so they know if the Mercy ever goes for it. Flyer just doesn't have that kind of freedom.
Yeah, the nano is used on Teru, but he doesn't get too much done with it. Chansik is going to fall as well because he didn't have the damage reduction. The bomb comes over, Rolf will fall. And Linksa on the Widowmaker does take out Hawk, and we see the res come back up, so the back line is there for the Vancouver Titans, but Hawk is going to be also brought back into action. Now the supercharger from Gator. A bit more damage now to lead in the rest of their team as they are just pushing this car. It doesn't seem to be too much of an attempt to contest this one, Kai. Or he's trying to find one of these little angles to try and peek from. Saddlestroke comes over again. That's a supercharger taken out, and Gator's just trying to hold down this corner. Takes a ton of damage with the Bionade applied onto him, but now the Amp Matrix around this corner, and the Atlanta Rain, they are not relenting in the slightest. The Vancouver Titans have just let this get pushed all the way to the end of the checkpoint. Chansik with the Primal Rage. He's desperate to try and do something. Jumping around the map. Maybe he can put some pressure into Kai, but he's already fallen so low, and he will be removed, taken out of the game. 1.69 meters left to try and push this one. A last-ditch effort coming out from Teru as well. He's going to be the recipient here. And Anubis gets one kill, maybe turnable here. The Pelican be brought down. Yep, the payload gets pushed in, and that's going to be the 5-minute time back now for the Atlanta Rain to try and do all sorts of dirty work.
It feels like the universe is conspiring against the Vancouver Titans. In their one moment where Teru has a flash of brilliance, takes the nano boost, and the fight looks turnable, the payload just ends up completing, and nobody's there to try and contest it. It must be so hard to maintain positivity in these scenarios when you're just getting battered back over and over again. The bomb over the top. It's just crazy.
I don't know. The payload hasn't stopped moving, Josh. No, the payload has not stopped moving. I don't know how you maintain the positive mental attitude in the face of this. It's absurd. And now Kai, is there anybody going to be able to contest him here at the off angle? I mean, he's pumping in these shots. He's so close to taking somebody's head off. And there we go. Spoken into existence. Rolf will go down. Linksa though. Okay. Pelican will fall. They get the res off. Teru as well. Massa goes down. The Atlanta Rain have lost a lot of key pieces. Is this what the Vancouver Titans needed to try and get back into this one? Gator goes down as well. The Amp Matrix is committed. This is actually quite big for them. Pelican, though, with the cooldown. Kai is still alive. Kai is still alive. Oh, my goodness. 3 kills for him in the kill feed. Pelican going to be getting out of the duplicate form, and that is the payload pushed right in. 3 minutes, 40 seconds. What is the fastest time on Dorado? Does anybody know?
I mean, that's got to be up there. That's got to be up there. It is, Brent. We've just heard the 3rd fastest time on Dorado ever set in the Overwatch League.
Oh, my
3 minutes 40. And there's just... Brent, this game, it feels like the Vancouver Titans... This is going to sound so harsh, but it feels like they're not in the server. It feels like they are just putting up no resistance to Atlanta. And I don't mean that in a sense that these are bad players or anything, but they are getting rolled over. Atlanta are getting picks, and every time there's a flash of brilliance from a player on the Vancouver Titans, it's not synced up with the rest of the team. Teru's going big, or Linksa finds a pick, but the rest of the players are not capitalizing on those advantages when presented to them. They can't close out even with a pick advantage. It just feels impossible right now.
Yeah, it certainly does. Look at these shots. Oh,
that's such a cool.
Are you kidding me? I think was Linksa nano boosted there as well. Yeah, so he had the damage reduction, but the Amp Matrix damage just, I mean, it makes it easy. It just pierces right through it. And yeah, I completely agree with you, Josh. I mean, there's no challenge being put up here against the Atlanta Rain. This is a team that's probably going to be quite a bit angry, honestly, after their loss the other day. And
yeah, they came in.
They want to be getting these wins.
Well, look at this. This is unusual, too. The Gator main tank Hog. We saw it a little bit at the beginning of the June Joust, but it hasn't really been as popular as people were theorizing. That could be a bit of a meta shift as we head towards the play-ins and the playoffs of the June Joust, but all right, let's see what this let's see what this does.
I think this is a pretty major read of them understanding that Vancouver really relying on these Winston comps for Chansik to try and pop off on, and the Hog is such a threat. Like the Hook, when you try, look at this, denying the high ground straight away. Hawk's there with the boosters. Now Gator's just causing a bit of havoc on the sidelines. Look at
They
this.
can punish this though, maybe.
Very, very low. They can't punish him. He just gets out with a breather. Yeah, and he's still going to be there with the hooks. It is susceptible. The Vancouver Titans have like this window of opportunity, I think, as well, if they catch Gator out, but he's going to be playing with back with the rest of the team, and now the choke point is going to be held up here by the Atlanta Reign.
They do have the Biotic nade in order to purple Gator and make his healing negated. They can also try and wait it out and use their focusing beam to burst it. There are tools available. Oh, there goes the hook. Catches on the fry though.
Chansik here, recipient of an Anubis. This peel is really good actually coming out from the Atlanta Reign. They punish him straight away. There was no real sync up, and that, I mean, this is the trouble actually with the hero pool rotation that's currently in. There's no Tracer. Typically the Tracer player, somebody playing Tracer will sync up with your Winston when they're nanoed in. And that's what we've been seeing like in the entirety of that first tournament of the year. It doesn't exist. You can't play Tracer in his compositions because it's just out of the hero pools. So
yeah,
when Chansik goes in, I mean, it's so easy to punish him.
Remember as well that this is a main tank player who, prior to his most recent stint in the Overwatch League, right now, he hasn't played since 2019. His last match was a playoff in the quarterfinals in Contenders Korea in 2019. I mean, we are talking years have passed since this guy was a main tank player that was actively playing at somewhat of a top level. So Chansik is having a rough return here, just kind of getting bullied. Oh,
yep.
That was a good shot.
There you go. There's one for the make it easy for the video editor. Kai, go on, hit another one. Okay, well, maybe not.
Yeah. I mean, that's the power of the infosight there as well, but it just looks so crispy clean when you're shooting through a tight window like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's brutal, I think, for Chansik, who's come in to this game, and he's filling in for the team. I mean, I kind of led in with a bit of a preamble before this match talking about it, but the main tank position is something that your entire team is centered around in terms of your synergy with the rest of your team and how they're supporting you. Yeah. And it's integral in every composition pretty much in modern day Overwatch, in the game and how it's played at the moment. When you swap out such a big key figure like this with Chansik coming in, it takes weeks with a good team to try and build up that synergy again. I mean, the task that's in front of the Vancouver Titans here, it feels insurmountable.
They get the kill on Linkser and punish the resurrect attempt. Fire falls. The Vancouver Titans, they have 6 ultimates because they haven't been in position to use them properly. They're trying to wait to use their ults for the team fight instead of just throwing them out willy-nilly. But all that means is that they don't have any chances to use them. It is 25 seconds on the clock, and aside from just all running forward and pressing Q, there's no hope.
Is that what I got to do to win it, Josh?
Just hold W, press Q, and hope you get picks.
That's pretty big.
Pelican. They can't deny the res, though.
Okay, yeah, the res comes through, but they did force out that cooldown. What a headshot from Kai. Takes him out of duplicate form. I think that's a duplicate onto the Mercy.
Yeah, it was a duplicate
goes
Mercy.
Down. Oh, no. This is brutal to watch. Links are going to be res back up. The nano boost applied fried. He wants to keep this one going. He's desperate for it, but he's demeched in the process. And look at that self-destruct. Roth goes down. No one's going to be able to touch Josh. I have no words. I mean, there will not be any breadsticks served today. I'm sorry to say. The people are going hungry in Vancouver.
Yeah, it doesn't feel likely, does it? It is brutal to watch, man. It is so brutal. Because at times, Vancouver have felt like a team that would be able to snag their first win of the season. When they played in the main melee towards the end, they looked like they were a team that had some punch, they had some hope. And that all appears to be gone. Okay, the Atlanta Reign are a great team in the June Joust right now, so there are better opponents for Vancouver to get that first win against, for sure. The season is not over by any means, but this match feels like it is.
And we're going to be going to a short break. Will we witness the impossible? Will we see the Vancouver Titans battle back into the series, or this is just going to be a repeat of what we've just witnessed, the Atlanta Reign just walking away with it? Well, at least you do get the drops at the end of the day. We'll see you on the other side of the break, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh,
The
hello?
Overwatch League is
All right.
brought to you by Team.
Well, it's definitely not the start to that Vancouver wanted. There's no sugarcoating it. They don't look great. They look bad. That looked rough. They look like they had no strategy for executing there, and they look like I know I talked about how on Friday they looked like they were way too flexible and how they were switching comps way too much. Right there, they looked way too rigid, where, especially on attack on Dorado there, you see that they're running the Roadhog. There are so many counters you can go run into that make that Roadhog useless, but they just brute forced it with the Winston the entire time. Any one of those players could have taken a moment and be like, guys, they're running Roadhog. Let's switch something like Orisa again and just rush him down. Let's go Reaper and go top and rush him down. There is a million strats you can call it differently there that I don't want to blame down like a single player again, because any one of those players can be the one to speak up there. But Overwatch is to an extent about flexibility. Like, yes, you have the comps you practice, you have your comps you want to run, but if you notice the other team is running something weird that you can figure out a comp to switch to, you should almost always look at doing that. And obviously, with the comp they were running just wasn't effective. Really, I can't say this is on one player right now. Linkser has definitely gotten picked a few more times than he needs to be, but I can't say those are his fault, even with how the team playing Changstick has looked like he's on an entirely different page than the rest of the team, which will always happen. Having a new main tank, who I'm sure has only had a few weeks of practice at most, and especially with a potential language barrier or anything like that, it will always take time to get that synergy down and get the coordination. But they definitely need to kick it into high gear here with the practice next week. The next map will probably be rough again, if I'm being honest. It's very hard to mentally reset after a couple maps as rough as these will. So I am hoping for a better showing on map 3, but it could definitely be hard to just get a good reset there. But there's a lot that they can at least take away from this going into next week. There's the one bright side is when you get stomped like this to an extent, there's a lot you can learn from it. They can look more at the comps they want to run, look at more at the positioning, how they're organizing fights, how they're engaging fights. There's so much that they'll be able to take away from this. But you saw there in the player cams after, Fire just looked like he was almost like in disbelief. He was like almost laughing, just like at this is really happening to us. Like, which that isn't it's not bad to have that. Like, I'd rather have a player who can at least try and smile through it than one who will just hard tilt and get upset and just go silent. At least looking on it brightly is a plus, I guess. But I definitely, again, not the start I think they wanted. And at this point, this week is looking like a wash. But again, there's a lot they can take away from it. I personally would like to see Dalton in next match. Not that I think Linkser has been bad, but just sometimes bringing in that other player can just give you that spark. Just having like a different, someone who hasn't been in those past 2 maps comes in fresh. Be like, all right, guys, let's get this. Like, even if they practice more with Linkser throughout the week, at this point, they need to do something. Obviously, what they're doing is not working at all. So I'd say bring Dalton in, bring back the Reaper. I like, this is the one time I feel like Reaper makes sense. Like, against the Orisa or the Roadhog, Reaper is good into that. Like, they had this comp on Friday, and now they've ran Reaper for 1 life and then switched off, which I know I said Dorado is like a good hit scan map, but it doesn't matter how good it is if you can't even like push out a spawn. So let me see quickly, what is the next map we're going into here? Anubis, I expect to see potentially more May being played. The Anubis has always been a pretty decent May map, but really, unless there's some like big crazy strats Vancouver breaks out, I think Atlanta has looked pretty good on 2CP. I think they're going to have a pretty set strat for it. It's really going to come down to just the first couple of fights here for Vancouver. If they can win like the first fight or 2 and get their confidence back up, then they can start snowballing. But if they lose the first fight on this map and just start out rough, it could be over. It could be over quick. Like, when it's been this rough of a start, sometimes just losing one fight is enough to completely like take all the wind out of your sails. But really, unfortunately, there isn't much more for me to talk about in matches like this. There's only so much you can break down at the moment, but there is a lot they can go back and look at. But hey, on the bright side, I do have codes here for the coin token thing, so you can buy your skins. You can buy any of your favorite player skins with these codes. Vancouver Titans, you got Fire, he's awesome. Fried Wiener, got a cool name. There's some cool people out there. You have to enter it on the Battle.net website, I believe, the BNet site. But normally, unfortunately, we don't have drops here, but we got the codes. Listen, you don't need drops here when I'm out here giving the codes. There's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. That's all you get. Again, you can use those on any of your favorite player skins at Vancouver Titans. They got cool ones. I mean, the blue and green looks awesome, even though I'm not wearing a Vancouver one right now, but there's the codes for that. It looks like the next map is starting now, though, so I will be back after this, hopefully for map 4. Breadsticks are still possible on the table, but it's going to be tough, but I believe, and I will see you after this map.
That's like a major key.
You're telling me that there's some big...
looking after your grass.
There's some big grassy meadows underneath the Temple of Anubis, and there's just sand
well,
everywhere.
It's what they do. It's what they do at golf courses, I think, as well, to make sure that the grass is nice bunkers. And cut even. No. Okay, well, listen, the game started. The Atlanta Rain are on the attacking side. We'll see if they're as dominant in the past.
Yeah, Lynx has got a nice little off angle here that he can pound damage in, but it's Changsik I'm worried about because he's already taken so much poke. Another Holt! Do they... Yeah, and they're able to convert it. They get the kill on Fire. Immortality Field comes down as well from Rolf, but it doesn't quite... It's not able to catch. And, yeah, I mean, Resurrect is available for Gator. Fire can't res himself.
This is the war of attrition, the slow siege now. Coming up. Massa goes down. This is a good flank, actually. A great opportunity to try and even this one out. Teru so close to getting that kill onto Kai, but the point control is theirs. This Amp Matrix, no one's playing into it. Can anybody try and contest? No is the answer. No is the answer, Josh.
I keep seeing new things. I don't think I've ever seen a team fight happen like that either, Brent, where there are players just boxed in a room and they can't touch the point because they're getting body blocked and booped back by Hawk. Hawk is doing so much. I've been loving watching this guy play.
I mean, this is brutal. Kai, they can't get the kill on him. The Amp Matrix almost punishing them ever so slightly. The tanks are kind of separated here. Surely you're going to be able to get a pick, maybe, off the back of this one. The Dragon Strike into the Holt. Holy moly, that's a lot of damage. It forces out the Immortality Field, so nobody will go down. Pelican, though, was trying to put a stop to this one. Terror has to use the duplicate, another Holt, pulling them together. But Pelican coming back in with one of his own. Falling very low, has to back off here. The double supercharger, that is a dangerous combo. And the Vancouver Titans, okay, a team fight win on the board.
Very nice. Good play from Terror. That's, I mean, I could be wrong here, but I think that's the first team fight they've actually won. So that's big stuff coming out from Vancouver there. That's a little bit of morale under your belt. You're feeling good about it. You're trying to chain it into the next. Now, they did have to use 3 big ultimates for that. They had double supercharger down, so that's duplicate and the Orisa ultimate. And then Fire uses Valkyrie too. That's another good kill, though. Even if Massa's able to get the Resurrect, that burns a big cooldown. Rolf can hang on to his Amp Matrix a little longer. This is good. Just start the process of feeling better about this match.
A change in momentum, perhaps. I mean, this is what they're searching for. There's a lot of players in the Vancouver Titans. I mean, these guys are good. They're talented. We just haven't quite really seen it work in terms of the synergy of the teamwork.
Definitely. A lot of players on the Vancouver Titans were former Atlanta players. I mean, when you're thinking about Fried Wiener and Fire, you know, like these guys were previously on the Atlanta Reign, and they've played within systems like this.
Exactly. We know that these guys are capable of more. We just need to see it now. The Dragon Strike is going to be cutting them up. It's the Immortality Field. The Holt into the sticky bombs is brutal. It does so much damage to them. The Dragon Strike as well. It's going to be splitting them up. And now they can put a lot of their focus right onto the sidelines. Linkser and Rolf are going to be finished. They're down. They're out. Now Pelican just waiting, holding onto it. The duplicate goes down. The shield as well. Ripping into them there. Absolutely shredding them. Terra's going to be able to get that supercharge down. The Holt Actually gets 8 up there, but I think it is almost inevitable here. They have a couple of bodies that they can throw onto the point as the Vancouver Titans are stalling this one. Fried Wiener taken out of the mech. Just trying to, again, just dump bodies on to keep it going potentially, but way too strong. The Atlanta Reign are in complete control, and that's going to be 3 minutes is what they're working with here.
Well, Vancouver Titans won a single team fight on defense. If they can win 2 team fights on attack, they'll complete the map. So there's some hope, right?
Yep.
That's there's some hope, right? It's a tough game, man.
I feel you.
It's just such
a tough game. I mean, it's tough for us. It's tough for the fans. Tough for the Vancouver Titans players. I think it's a rough one because, like I said, some of these guys have a lot of history. And if you are an Atlanta Reign fan, you're watching this match, you're looking at the former teammates, the guys that you were cheering on the other side of this brutal beatdown. And you want it to be at least a little bit competitive. You want the Vancouver Titans to show some signs of life here. Get back into the series, maybe. Get a map on the board, potentially try and turn it around. But it feels like the universe is against them.
Well, we'll see what they're capable of here. This gives them an opportunity to run these Winston compositions a little more now that they're on attack. And we've seen those be extremely effective, especially on assault maps where you're able to chain the ultimates together once you hit point B. I'm looking for Rolf to probably be playing the Moira here and utilizing that coalescence properly to get good dives with Changsik. So this is by no means done. And Lynx's Genji, I was going to say I'm here for it. Turns out he's playing the Reaper anyway. I want to see the old Lynx Genji. Bring me back to 2016.
Yeah, I mean, it was a while ago, wasn't it?
It was a long time ago. It might have been more like 2017, but it's been a huge amount of time since he played that hero a lot.
Yeah, when it was a regular staple, I think, of the hero.
Yeah.
The Vancouver Titans have gotten into this for free with this kind of rush composition, and they've avoided taking a lot of damage and taking any casualties. Chance is going to be trying to create some space with that leap in, but he's punished immediately. Taken out, as I believe that was the halt into the damage boost. Terra's going to try and do some work, but not enough. Still, getting some traded out kills. That's ideal, but no one to really put a stopper in Kai because he is just a monster. Really just decimating.
And here's the problem. They're getting staggered. They're getting staggered now, these final couple of kills, which means that they can't push off the advantage of killing Massa, killing, I think it was Pelican as well. They're already back in the team fight. They're already back, ready to defend for the next time up. And the other part as well is, watching Changsik and Teru dive in there, it was a suicide mission. They just jumped into their own deaths in a desperate attempt to take out Massa with them. That's not an effective way of winning these fights. It implies a lack of understanding in how to win in this meta.
Coalescence is used to try and, I guess, push them away, and it just only gets them through the choke point. Pelican cashes Terror as well. Caught him. Gravitic Flux is going to be used with the diving gauge. The Vancouver Titans, they cannot withstand that in the slightest. Chansig is going to go down, and inevitable is the word of the day, I think.
They've got a tick. They've nearly got 50%. So, all right. They managed to sneak something away from that. You don't necessarily have to win a team fight in order to capture the point. You might be able to try and get it via subterfuge, which appears to be the method of play for the Vancouver Titans.
Yep.
Stealthily make your way onto the objective. No Sombra, no Tracer in this hero pool, and yet still managing to flank and get ticks for free.
Can't play the invisible hero.
No, that would be pretty good, wouldn't it? All right, they're going to pass through the right-hand side here. There's got to be a coalescence engage. They need to just take a little bit of poke, build up Rolf's Coal. Oh, lordy.
They've spotted this,
scouted this.
Yeah, the Vancouver Titans are aware, so you don't want a Dragon Strike out. It's going to get ate up by Fried Wiener, but this Dragon Strike is going to cut them across, and that is a perfectly placed Dragon Strike into the halt. Chantic is gone and done, I guess. He's a Don. He might be a Don as well, why not?
Yeah, that's
and
brutal.
this is going to be the team fight's over. It's done. It's finished.
And you can see that because Vancouver Titans are playing so slowly, Atlanta Reign know exactly what they're going to do, right? It's really obvious that they're going to speed boost engage there with the call. And so Atlanta have already come up with a plan and find the perfect timing to execute it, the halt into the Dragon Strike. And you could see that Kai took like 10 seconds to set that up. If Vancouver play with a little more pace, which, okay, they were waiting for the coalescence in that scenario, but if they play with a bit more pace, then Atlanta don't have the room, the time to make those decisions.
Well, this is it. I mean, it's got to be the final team fight. 25 seconds remaining. Soundbarrier is used to at least give them a bit of health. And there you go. TP to the high ground. Pushes them away from the Amp Matrix. Teru has a duplicate. Going to be opting to use it now, but he's straight up into the sky and he's going to be taking a ton of damage. Look at the pressure that's being applied to him. Fortify to dodge. A lot of the ultimates is being used. Roth with the Coalescence has brought down Massa. Actually, a winnable scenario here. They have to try and touch this point with only 2 seconds. 1 second left. They have to. Chancing just about gets onto it. The Atlanta Reign, they have a couple of bodies though to try and stave them and push them away off of this one. And there we go. The punish comes through at the end. Almost winnable for the Vancouver Titans, but not quite enough. And that is going to be one of the most one-sided series I have ever casted. And quite brutal, honestly. I gotta say, I think if you're a Vancouver Titans fan, probably expecting a little bit more from the roster, but also these players, I think, kind of being put in this position, not really to succeed as well. It's unfortunate, it really is. But the Atlanta Reign are going to be walking away with a win.
Yeah,
and that
was the third fastest match of all time in the Overwatch League, and the Atlanta Reign didn't even begin on defense there. They began on attack.
Yeah,
that is incredible. That is truly incredible. And Brent, I know that perhaps there's Fire putting his cardboard cutout in his seat instead of himself. I know it is the Atlanta Reign who wins this match, but we didn't really learn anything new about Atlanta. And to me, the story isn't even so much about them in this game. It's about Vancouver. And I just want to put this out there into the world as well, that it is a mental struggle for a team that is 0-5 and has yet to get their win. It's all about how much you can stay in it mentally. Because, okay, today wasn't your day, Vancouver, and maybe tomorrow won't be your day either. Maybe this isn't your month, but there are many opportunities this season to be able to get wins on the board. And if you allow yourself to be mentally crumbled off these early season losses, it will only become harder to get yourself into that good mental place later on down the road. So that is what they need. They need the fan support. They need the big picture perspective to know that there are wins potentially coming down the road. They just have to be ready to grab the opportunities when they present themselves. Today was not one of those opportunities.
And at the end of the day, it is competition. It's fighting for those wins, and it's the Atlanta Reign who walk away with it. And Kai is going to be our player of the match, presented by Xfinity. But well said there, Josh, I think, as well. Just thinking about the bigger picture, the Vancouver Titans. But overall, we hyped up Kai.
Well, definitely not the week that I think Vancouver wanted to have. But I will say this. Matches like this happen. Any team out there has probably been through a match or two like this. I don't think this is the Vancouver Titans we should expect to see the rest of the season. I think the first split, their other 4 matches, they looked pretty competitive in every single one. They took maps in every single set. They took a lot where they could have been close even. They looked like they were in every one before, but these past 2 matches, again, I'm not sure if it's the hero bans, having a new main tank they're trying to integrate, which apparently his English is much better than I thought. Apparently Vancouver has a pretty cool language system set up to help their any foreign players come in, so that's pretty cool. But regardless, having a new main tank, especially with minimal practice in a hero ban week, it will always be a little rough. But again, matches like this do happen, and if anything, there's a lot that they can look at and a lot to look forward to going into next week's matches, because next week's matches will not be getting any easier. I believe Vancouver is playing Shock next week on Friday. And then I believe on Saturday, they're playing Dallas Fuel. So next week, they're playing against 2 of the better teams in the league. Not that Glads or Atlanta are bad, but they really need to put into overdrive this week. And break down on that VOD review and figure out exactly how they want to take a lot of these fights, because as a whole, they're one bright spot is Teru is still a beast. He had a few unfortunate deaths, but in a match like that, that's always going to happen. But really, I think the team needs to just play around trying to enable Teru to pretty much just do work. Because honestly, I think Teru could go toe-to-toe with almost any DPS out there in the league. He's definitely on the upper echelon of DPS. Like, he is good. And the rest of the team has plenty of talent where they can, like, beat any of these teams. It's all about just putting it all together. And right now, they need to put a lot of it together. Again, they need to figure out, look back at how they played the first split, the first couple weeks, and get back to that style. Because right now, they just look like they didn't have a ton of coordination figuring out. And honestly, I would be perfectly happy if I never saw Rolf Moira again. Not that I think Rolf is bad at all. I think Moira is just bad. I think, you know, I can understand them wanting to run the Moira to be able to get through top right on Anubis and the extra survivability it provides, but I don't think I've seen any other team run Moira besides some very, very, very specific situations, just because she doesn't provide really any utility out of her healing. And yeah, you can build Coalescence pretty fast, but compared to something like Baptiste, Ana, he just doesn't do near as much. So probably I would like to see the coaches put a stop to that. But they know more than me for some of it. Like, I can understand again why they ran it. Just from what I'm seeing, it doesn't look like it has much effectiveness. I would also expect to hopefully see, not that again, Lynx hasn't been bad either. Just I think having that other player, having Dalton potentially ready, like if a team loses their match or two, sometimes having that other player just swap in for a map to get that fresh set of eyes, that fresh player in there to like bring the morale up can be good. So a lot for them to look at again going into the weekend or going to next week. Because, again, next week's matches won't be any easier. But regardless, unfortunate week of matches. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I would have liked to see a bit more competitive, especially with it being the new showing for Changsik. He definitely looked a little out of sync with the rest of the team, but like, I can't blame him for that. That's the team as a whole needs to figure out how they want to take these fights more and how they want to engage more. Like, the main tank is sometimes left high and dry if like the team isn't ready to follow up on it. So back to the drawing board for a lot of it. There were comps that worked still. There were areas that looked okay, but there's a lot they have to look at going into next week. But I'll be looking forward to it still. Next match is on Friday, like I said. That, I believe, will be about it for me. Any other points or anything I should add in here before we give a closing? All right. That sounds like that is it then. So, unfortunate showing of 3-0 for Atlanta Reign against Vancouver Titans, but looking forward to a stronger bounce-back week next Friday against San Francisco Shock. And I will see you guys then. Have a good one.